Hallelujah. Lech Lecha. Lech Lecha. That's the name of the portion, Lech Lecha. And it comes from the first verse of chapter 12, verse 1. Now, the Lord, capitals, L-O-R-D, so, you know, some of us aren't comfortable with saying his name just now, but his name is not the Lord, is it? No. It's just not. You know, you look at the Hebrew Bible, it's so clear what that is. It's not even Adonai, it's Yah, Yehovah, Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey, and we'll talk about that a bit more in a minute. Yehovah said to Abraham, his name's not Abraham yet, Lech Lecha, go forth. That's what it means. Lech Lecha, go forth yourself, literally. And it's saying, go find yourself, Abraham. Go and become the man you're meant to be, Abraham. Get out of your country and your father's house and find out who you're supposed to be in the plan that I've got for your life. So this is so personal for everyone here. It's a Lech Lecha for everyone. And he's always going to be saying to us, go forth, come out of Babylon, is the modern way of putting it. Like we said last week, don't think for 1 minute Babylon is an ancient place. Babylon is now, and Babylon is future. It's called Mystery Babylon, and it's in Revelation chapter 17 and 18, and it's going to be destroyed, just like the Tower of Babel was last week, only probably worse. And God's call to us is come out of that, and come into a land that I will show you. That's what he's saying to Abraham, but it's the same for us. So let's just read it. Get out of your country, from your family, and from your father's house, to a land that I will show you. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you, and I will make your name great. Remember last week, and them fellas at the Tower of Babel, and they were like, come on, let's get together, let's build a tower, let's make a name for ourselves. No, that wasn't the way, and God destroyed that plan and confused their tongues, and that's why the name is Babel, because it's called confusion. Well, this is how God wants to do it. I will make your name great. Don't you be doing it yourselves and building yourselves a tower and thinking you're all great. I will make your name great. That's what God's saying to Abraham. And you shall be a blessing. And I will bless those who bless you. And I will curse those who curse you. And there's two words in that for curse. One, I will curse them. Curse you is that ara, proper, whoa, watch out. And the second curse is for those who just belittle you. Those who speak lightly of you. Those who belittle you, I'll curse them. It's a big deal, this. Yeah. And it's translated onto not just Abraham, but Israel. We saw that, didn't we? With Balaam, who was trying to curse Israel from the mountains. And then he realised this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. You know what? God's not a man that he should lie. And he made a covenant with Abraham. And no one's going to break that covenant. Nothing at all will break that covenant that God made with Abraham. And this is it. And there's another phrase for what this is. What is it? What's this covenant? Also known as the gospel. So let's just read that before we go any further. Let's establish right now that this is the gospel. Because he says, I'll bless those who bless you, I'll curse him who curses you, and in you, Abraham, all, listen to the strength of this, all the families of the earth shall be blessed. All, he means it. It doesn't just mean a few of those people that live in Israel. No, all of the families of the earth will be blessed. So that's why I'm calling it the gospel, is Galatians chapter 3. Galatians chapter 3, let's just get this established right now, what the gospel is. It's Galatians chapter 3. Oh, we'll read verse 7 first. It says, Galatians chapter 3 verse 7, therefore, notice, no, only those who are of faith are the sons of Abraham. Only those who are of faith are the sons of Abraham. This is what Yeshua said in John 8 to the Jews that were contending with him, and he said, don't be giving me all that. Abraham's your dad, and you're the children of Abraham. I'll tell you what, yous are actually the sons of your father, the devil. So don't be giving me that bloodline here and making out that you're all something special. No, only those who have faith are the sons of Abraham. And this is what Yeshua said in John 8. That's what he said. If you were really the children of Abraham, you believe me.
Amen.
And this is why, verse 8, the scripture, foreseeing that God would justify the Gentiles by faith, preached the gospel to Abraham beforehand, saying what we've just read, in you all the nations shall be blessed. That's clear, isn't it?
Yes.
The Bible tells us that when God spoke to Abraham, I'm going to bless all the families of the earth in you, the Bible says that that is the gospel. And that's because, as we'll see more next week, when Isaac comes into the picture, that's how, because Isaac was the son of promise, and Isaac is a shadow picture of the Messiah. And the Messiah in Matthew chapter 1 is the son of David, the son of Abraham. So it's clear this, we know the score. Messiah is the promised seed, and in the Messiah we are all blessed. So it's clear, isn't it? This is the gospel being preached to Abraham. So there's a lot to read tonight, a lot of scriptures. I just prepare as if I've got about 4 hours and just prepare everything. I never get a chance to complete it, so I'm not very good at organising things. I can do it all right. Verse 4, so Abraham departed as Yah had spoken to him. And Lot, it is in Hebrew, we always O instead of O, Lot went with him. And Abraham was 75 years old when he departed from Haran. So just so you know what's going on here, It says that Terah was his dad. Let me just go back to chapter 11. And it talks there about Terah, who was Abraham's dad. And it makes out, if you just don't understand it straight away, that Abraham waits until his dad dies. It says in chapter 11 verse 32, so the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. Then you'd think that it's after he's dead that Yah speaks to Abraham, but we learn from chapter 11 that Terah had Abram when he was 70 years old, it says. And then it says in the next verse here, it says there, so Abraham departed, and Abraham was 75 years old when he left Haran. So it's clear that Terah would have only been 145 when Abraham left. So Terah didn't die before Abraham left. Abraham left his dad while he was alive, which is exactly what God said to do, because it tells us in Joshua, Abraham's dad was actually a worshipper of false gods. This is what it tells us. Terah was in this line, but somewhere along the line they started to worship false gods, and that's why God called them out. They were in Ur of the Chaldeans. It's Babylon. It just means like fiery flame. They were in the furnace of Babylon. There's so much other literature about Abram in the scriptures, in the Jewish Midrash, the book of Midrash, and there's a book called Jasher, and the Bible talks about the book of Jasher. The only problem is we don't know whether the book of Jasher that's available today is the real book of Jasher. We're not sure if it's a blag or if it's real. If it's real, it gives us so much history about Abraham, that he lived in this place. And even back then, he was a righteous man, and he was preaching righteousness because he's come from this line that we read about last week. Abel was righteous. Noah was righteous. He was a preacher of righteousness. And then Abraham comes from this line of Shem, this righteous line. But somewhere, because of Babylonian influence, his dad went west and started getting into worshipping false gods, it says. And that's why God calls Abraham out. Come out of there. Come out. And so we see the journey that got made. He went from here with his dad to this place called Haran. And that was one of Abraham's kids' name. And he dies there. And then after all that, Abraham comes out and does what God has told him to do. So that's the start of this story. It's great. Verse 5, then Abraham took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their possessions that they had gathered, and the people whom they had acquired in Haran, and they departed to go to the land of Canaan. So he came to the land of Canaan. Abraham passed through the land to the place of Shechem, and we know that place, as far as the terebinth trees of Moreh. And he and the Canaanites were then in the land. So the first port of call for Abraham is Shechem, and it's at the terebinth trees of Moreh. Moreh means teacher. Moreh, Moriel Ministries, Yaakov Prash. God is my Moreh, Moriel. God is my teacher. And Shechem means shoulder. So you can see the picture here. It's about taking upon your shoulders the yoke of Torah, letting him be your teacher. That's what Abraham, his first port of call is this place. And Shechem becomes so important throughout Scripture, doesn't it? So much happens at Shechem. That's where Joseph's buried to this day, isn't it? That's when they brought the bones of Joseph up out of Egypt. They buried him at Shechem. His tomb's there to this day, and about 2 years ago, I don't know if you've seen it on the news, the Palestinians, because it's called Nablus now, Shechem, Nablus, and that's where it's a terrorist hotbed, and they torched Joseph's tomb. What are they into? He's dead. But they set fire to his tomb with all of that fury and rage and hatred that they've got for the patriarchs. Well, that's Shechem. And so much happens at this place, Shechem. It's an important place. It's off bounds now. Nablus, don't go there. So, verse 7. Then there it is, Yah appeared. He appeared to Abraham and said, to your descendants I will give this land. And there he built an altar to Yah, who appeared to him. Let's just carry on. And he moved from there to the mountain east of Bethel, and he pitched his tent with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. And there he builds another altar to Yahovah, only this time he doesn't just do that, he does something else and calls on the name of Yahovah. What's that reminder of? This is basic gospel stuff, this is what Acts says, quoting Joel. It's what Romans chapter 10 says. We've read it a few times in the last few weeks. It says so clearly, doesn't it? Whoever will call on the name of the Lord will be saved. What's Abraham doing? He's calling on the name of the Lord. The gospel was preached to Abraham. We just read that. Abraham's already had the gospel preached to him. Now he builds an altar and he calls on the name of Yahovah. So let me just spend 1 or 2 minutes just going through that, because I know we've got new people, and I know just by listening, people aren't comfortable yet with his name. Okay, I understand that, but please make it your business to know these things. Ask him to reveal these things to you. This is a part of the move of God we're in now. I'll read it from Jeremiah 16. Some of you might not have heard this before. This is where we are right now. That's why I'm so excited all the time, because I know this is a move of God. This is a move of God prophesied by Jeremiah in chapter 16. And in verse 19 it says this. The first few verses before that make it so clear that the time that this prophecy was concerning was the time when God was gathering again Israel from the four corners of the earth. He would be gathering them back in, and around that time it says this, and this is one of the scriptures which is not many of them, prophecies to the Gentiles. This is a prophecy to the nations, this. And it says it so clearly. Verse 19, O Yahovah, my strength, Uzi, my Uzi, and my fortress, my refuge in a day of affliction. The Gentiles, the nations, shall come to you from the ends of the earth, that's us, and say this, surely our fathers have inherited lies, worthlessness and unprofitable things. That's what I've been saying for a few years now, when I started to be able to count to 3, and I realised, hang on, Yeshua said I'm going to be in the grave for 3 days and 3 nights, and that's when I started to realise, hang on a minute, how to get 3 days and 3 nights between Good Friday and Easter Sunday? I've asked loads of people, loads of times, and I still haven't had an answer, and I know I'll never get one, because you can't. You can't get 3 days between Friday and Sunday, no matter how clever you are, or how big a hat you've got, and no matter who you are, you'll never get 3 days and 3 nights between Friday and Sunday. It's an impossibility, and that is one of the worthless and unprofitable lies that we have inherited from our fathers. Them fellas in Rome that insist on being called father, when Yeshua said, call no man father, and they went, what? Oh, we'll call ourselves father then. Well, you should get on it straight away. These are the gang of liars, aren't they? Yeah. Well, they are the gang of liars, and we've inherited a pack of lies from them. But look what it says. That's not the end of the story. Verse 20. Will a man make gods for himself which are not gods? Watch this. Therefore, verse 21. Behold, I will this once. And that's what I believe we're in now. We're in this once. One more move of God before Yeshua comes back. One more move of mercy before judgment. That's what it says here. Mercy before judgment. Once, he says, I will cause them to know. I'll cause them to know my hand and my might. And they shall know that my name, it's not the Lord. That's not his name. It's Yehovah. Other people pronounce it differently. We're not here to argue about how you pronounce it. That's not what this is about. It's not about being clever. It's not about going, I pronounce it better than you. It's not about that. But, you know, please give an account of it. At least have an account of why you call him various Yahweh, or I say Yehovah. But, you know, at least find out for yourself these things. There's plenty of info out there now. I always recommend Nehemiah Gordon, because Nehemiah Gordon's a scholar. Nehemiah Gordon was searching through the Aleppo Codex, the most revered of all of the scriptures, the most revered of all of the manuscripts, the Aleppo Codex. Aleppo as in Aleppo, that's just been smashed in Syria. That place, that is the Aleppo Codex, the most authentic of the scriptures. And Nehemiah, it was his job to search, and he was doing the Dead Sea Scrolls and comparing other manuscripts all against the standard Aleppo Codex to verify that these Dead Sea Scrolls, etc., are valid. And he found 2 places in the Song of Moses, actually, or the blessing of Moses, when he's blessing the tribes and he's blessing Benjamin. And in that blessing, 2 places it was found where the vowel points were left in. The vowel points. The first time he found it, he gets a phone call from America off his mate, and his mate says, you're never going to believe this. A plane's just flown into the Twin Towers. And Nehemiah's like, wow. Carries on with his proofreading and his work. Then he finds it at another place where the vowels are left in. Wow, there's 2 places where the vowel points have been left in the scriptures to allow us to pronounce the name of God. As he finds the second place, he gets another phone call, and guess what? The second plane has just gone into the Twin Towers with a gang of nutcases going, Allahu Akbar, and giving it all the name of some false moon god. Well, at that time, it was only 2001, God was revealing from the scriptures what his real name is. So I just ask you to search these matters out, because the scripture has said at these end days that he is going to reveal his name again. Well, guess what? That's when it happens. That's right. Yeah, it is. And I don't have to, please never take my word for it. Look at the statement. But please check these things out yourself. It's that important. He's your Saviour. He's your God. And he wants us to know his name. Abraham calls on the name of Yehovah. I like to say Yahweh, because some people say Yahweh, I say Yehovah, but no one can argue with Yah, because it's in the scriptures. Isaiah 12, Psalm 68, it's clear. His name is Yah, and we all say Hallelujah. It's his name. So important. So that's what Abraham does. It doesn't mention anywhere here that he sacrifices animals. I'm not saying he doesn't, but it's not in the scripture that he does. So I'm not saying he does either. The most important thing he does is not sacrifice animals, but call on the name of Yah. Because whoever calls on the name of Yah will be saved. So I just want to read Hebrews chapter 13, where this applies to us. We're learning Abraham here. We've read that Only those who are of faith are the sons of Abraham. So we know that Abraham is the father of the faith. He's not our heavenly father, that's Yah, but he is the father of the faith. Thank God for Abraham, honestly, thank you, Father. So Hebrews 13 just says this, talking about altars, you see. Verse 10, we have an altar, from which those who serve the tabernacle have no right to eat. It's talking about different priesthoods now. So we're not part of the Levitical system. That is done away with. That's what's done away with. The commandments of God aren't done away with. The Sabbath's not done away with. The feast aren't done away with. The Levitical priesthood is done away with. Sacrifices are done away with. Because there's no more sacrifice for sin. Yeshua once for all and entered the holy place, the Holy of Holies, once for all, and shed his blood once for all. And now we have an altar, verse 10, that those who serve the tabernacle have no right to eat. For the bodies of those animals whose blood is brought into the sanctuary by the high priest for sin are burnt outside the camp. Therefore, Yeshua also, that he might sanctify the people with his own blood, suffered outside the gate. Therefore, here's us. Therefore, let us go forth to him outside the camp, bearing his reproach. For here we have no continuing city, but we seek the one to come. Amen. Therefore, by him, this is it now, let us continually offer the sacrifice of praise to God, that is the fruit of our lips, giving thanks to his name. That's simple, isn't it? Nothing hard about this, but see how holy it is. It's being compared here. Abraham, come out of his land, went to a land he didn't know, built an altar, and called on the name of Yahovah. Now it's saying to us, because of what Yeshua has done, all we have to do now is go outside the camp and give thanks. Give thanks to his name. That's easy, isn't it? That's the faith that we're part of now. It's so holy to give thanks. Don't take it for granted. It's like I was saying a lot, but the priesthood now, we don't sacrifice animals. We don't do all of that. We don't need to do that. It's all been done once for all. But King David, seeing that, King David was a prophet. King David wrote Psalm 110. He understood this, and he said, you know what? Let my prayer be set before you like incense, and let the lifting of my hands be like the evening sacrifice. The evening sacrifice was always a lamb of the first year. Yeshua is the evening sacrifice. He died at 3 o'clock in the afternoon at the time of the evening sacrifice and said, it is finished. That is the evening sacrifice. And so we are now, as priests, because we are priests, we're not Levitical priests, we are a royal priesthood. And as a royal priesthood, we need to do this. Do it in the morning and do it in the evening. I do it I won't get out of bed until I've done it. And just lift my hands and say, Father, I thank you for Yeshua. Thank you for the Lamb of God slain from before the foundation of the world. And thank you for adopting me as a son. Because that's what it says in Ephesians chapter 1, that before the foundation of the world, he chose us to be adopted as sons. That's what you call grace, George Lashley. That is grace. Before the foundation of the world, he chose us. Just lift your hands and give thanks. Morning and evening sacrifice, it's called. Amen. God, you can, just because Justin said you can't interrupt and all that, you can't get involved and go, Amen, hallelujah. Verse 10, Amen. Now there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down to Egypt to dwell there, for the famine was severe in the land. So you've got to understand what's going on here. Why is there a famine in the land? Why have you told Abraham to come out of Ur of the Chaldeans and come out of Haran to come into a land where there's a famine? What's going on? Well, the reason there's a famine in the land is because of what we just read, skipped over in verse 5. It says, because the Canaanites were living in the land in verse 6. The Canaanites were in the land. And the Canaanites were horrible. The Canaanites were devil worshippers. The Canaanites were sacrificing the children to false gods. The Canaanites were spilling innocent blood and getting up to all kinds of nonsense. And God was going to judge these people. And the famine in the land was to start that judgment upon them, to get them out, to wipe these people out of the land. That's what the famine was for. It wasn't to get Abraham out the land. God sent him there. But Abraham goes down to Egypt, which there's debate over this. We were talking about it last night. We're allowed to ask these questions. And I asked last night, and I said to the Father, I want to understand this. And then today, as I'm just studying a bit, I've come across the greatest of the sages, the greatest of the Jewish sages is called the Rambam, isn't he? The Rambam. You know, sometimes we talk about the sages. Well, he's the greatest of them. The most revered of the Jewish sages is the Rambam. And the Rambam said that Abraham failed in his mission here. This was not what he should have done. He shouldn't have gone down to Egypt. It wasn't where God was telling him to go. And you know, we have to go forward to chapter 26 to see a different way that Isaac approached this time. Because Isaac's got the same test, if you like. It says in chapter 26 of Genesis, there was a famine in the land. These famines, God's trying to purge the land of these wicked inhabitants. And he's going to drive them out of the land. And that's what the famine was for. So there was a famine in the land besides the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went to Abimelech, the king of the Philistines, in Gerar, which is in the land. Then Yah appeared to him and said, do not go down to Egypt. Live in the land of which I shall tell you. Dwell in this land and I will be with you and bless you. For to you and your descendants I give all these lands. And I will perform the oath which I swore to Abraham your father. Then in verse 13 it says, in verse 12 it says, chapter 26 verse 12, it says, Isaac sowed in that land and reaped in the same year 100-fold, and Yahovah blessed him. So Abraham should have stayed here, to be honest with you. I mean, he's just been to Bethel, on the mountain on the east, the west of Bethel, which we'll see that later in the Torah. It's not the modern day Bethel. There's a Jag Bethel now. This is the real Bethel. The real Bethel means the house of El. It's the Temple Mount. There's no temple there yet. It's a mountain, but it was always the place where God was going to place his name. And Abraham left the place, I would call it the Mount of Olives. It was on the west of Bethel and on the east of Ai. And Abraham went down to Egypt from that glorious place. Yeah, we're going to learn a bit of a lesson. But God, as ever, in Romans 8:28, God turns things around for his glory. You know, we can make a mess of things. I've made a mess of my life. But God's turned it around. That's why I'm sitting here and I'm talking about the word of God. And I was on the air on Friday night, this small all kinds and doing the things I used to do. You know what I mean? It's like God's turned it around. Thank you, Father, for turning it around. Because I gave my life to God. I gave my life to him when I was 22. And I had a shipwreck faith about 15 years later. And it was all over. And God brought me back. He is so faithful. So he will always turn things around for those who love him and who are called according to his purpose. Well, Abraham was called according to his purpose. So even though he goes down to Egypt, it'll all come out all right. So,
thank you, Lord.
Yeah, amen. Well said. Such an important word, that. Thank you. Such a holy word. Thanksgiving. You know, it's so much more than just our thanks, Lord. It's thank you. Todah Rabbah. Lifting of the hands comes from Todah, means thank you. Yad is hand, and that's where Todah comes from. It's lifting hands. You know, I do it all the time, but only because, again, that's why I do it all the time, because I know it's a priestly function to lift these mitts in the air. I know how important it is. That's why I'm always doing it. Hallelujah. You know, it worked for Moses when he was on the top of the mountain and the Amalekites come out of a battle, and Moses just sat down on a rock and went, "I'll get my hands up in the air." And as when his hands were lifted, Joshua battered the Amalekites. And when he's got a bit tired, he needed his mates to come, Aaron and Hur, to give him a hand. Their hands went back up and the battle got won. So don't underestimate it. And it's so powerful if you do it on your own. Just you and God secretly, no one else can see. Get them hands up and go, Father, I'm calling on your name.
Amen.
And what is mercy when God doesn't give us what we deserve?
That's beautiful, yeah. Mercy, we want to understand mercy. So I need to get a bit of a move on, verse 11. Oh, my, it's always like this. Verse 11, it came to pass when he was close to entering Egypt that he said to Sarai, his wife, indeed, I know that you are a woman of beautiful countenance. Therefore, it will happen when them Egyptians see you, they'll say, this is his wife, and they'll kill me, but they'll let you live. This is obviously how these crowd carry on. They fancy sword and just kill the husband. Kill him, and be like, this is the way it was going down in these times. Please, verse 13, say you're my sister. Just say you're my sister. That it may be well with me for your sake, and that I may live because of you. Now he's not lying here. He's not lying here. Go to chapter 20. Chapter 20 tells you. Chapter 20 tells you so clear. Or if you don't like flicking, whatever, just write it down. Hopefully you can watch on YouTube and always try and go over these things. This is the word of God. This is the Torah of God, as we'll hopefully get to look at. Verse 12, just quickly. This is Abraham again. Verse 11, Abraham said, because I thought, surely the fear of God is not in this place, and they'll kill me on account of my wife. But indeed, she is truly my sister. She is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother. And she became my wife. So it's clear, isn't it? Sarah is Terah's daughter, but by another wife.
Yeah.
So it's his half sister.
Yeah.
But they are sisters. And so now he's like that. Just say you're my sister. Don't let them know you're my wife. So we get introduced, which we will look at in more detail when we do in 2 weeks, what the portion that week called Kai Sarah. It's called the life of Sarah, that portion. So we'll probably look at a bit more detail. But I can't resist, and I can't believe how long it's been since we've read the Song of Songs in here. We used to read the Song of Songs every week, and we haven't read it for ages, so I need to give myself a slap and read the Song of Songs. Let's go to the Song of Songs just quickly to understand this concept of what's getting said here. Because we're being introduced here to the gospel, and we're being introduced here to the concept of my sister, my spouse, because that's what Sarah is. She's Abraham's sister and she's his wife, which might sound weird these days, but back then it was alright. Verse 9, chapter 4 of the Song of Songs. I don't want to get too sidetracked into this, but I do want to read these beautiful words out in hope that it will inspire us, because we're called Boi Kallah, and the reason we're called Boi Kallah is it means come bride. Because we want to make ourselves know and everyone else know that the bridegroom's coming. But he's not coming for some tramp. He's coming for a pure and spotless bride. He's coming for a pure and spotless bride. And that's what we all want to be and can be. And this is what he says. Chapter 4 of the Song of Songs. Chapter 4 is crucial. We're not going to read it all. But when you get to chapter 5, you start to wonder what's going on here. And it's a wedding scene. It's the wedding banquet. It's the wedding supper of the Lamb in chapter 5. And then at chapter 5, you're only halfway through. And then another episode unfolds. And from then on, you will never see in the Song of Songs the words you're about to read right now. It says in chapter 4, verse 7, you are all fair, my love, and there is no spot in you. So we're familiar with this language, in it. He is coming for a spotless bride. So this is who he's talking to here. You're all fair, my love, and there's no spot in you. Come with me from Lebanon, my spouse. With me from Lebanon, look from the top of Amanah and from the top of Senir and Hermon, from the lion's den, from the mountains of leopards. You have ravished my heart, my sister, my spouse. You have ravished my heart with one look of your eyes, with one link of your necklace. How fair is your love, my sister, my spouse. How much better than wine is your love, and the scent of your perfumes than all spices. Your lips, O my spouse, drip as the honeycomb. And that's why I love this. The Song of Songs is like the checklist for how you're doing on your bridal preparation. The bridegroom's coming soon. How are you getting on? If your lips aren't dripping with honeycomb and all that, then you're not doing great. But there's still time. That's what this is about. There's still time to address this. There's still time to go outside and go, you know what? I want that. I want to be hearing that voice going, you're all fair, my love. Come with me. Because that's what he's saying here. This is the invitation to the bride. We know that there's 5 wise virgins who are going to be laughing their heads off, and 5 foolish virgins that are going to be crying their eyes out. There's 5 wise and 5 foolish, and it's up to each one of us what category you want to be in. That's how I understand it. And the Song of Songs has helped me to understand this, because that's what he's saying. Your lips drip as the honeycomb. Honey and milk are under your tongue. And the fragrance of your garments is like the fragrance of Lebanon. A garden enclosed is my sister, my spouse. A spring shut up, a fountain sealed. Your plants are an orchard of pomegranates. I mean, you know, we'll get into all this as we get through the Torah, because all of these are Torah phrases. Pomegranates are around the tent, the robe of the high priest, really. Yeah. And so it's all to do with this. And you're acting like a priest. Are you talking this way? Is your mouth full of honey and milk? Are you talking about the promises of God? That's what I want our conversation to be about. I love the fellowship I have these days. Every time you have fellowship, we're just in the word of God. And it's fantastic. It's great. So I'm not going to carry on with that. Song of Songs, over to you. Read it. It's the bridal checklist. It prepares you to be this spotless bride, and to hear those words, my sister, my spouse, because we are definitely, you know, we're men, some of us are men, and so it's a bit weird, but for the women, well, you are called brethren, we're all brothers. Yeah. How behold, what you read Psalm 133, Jonathan, how good and pleasant it is for brothers. That doesn't exclude the women, we're all brothers, but we're all sisters as well. It's weird, but we are, because we're the classed as the bride, so even men, we have to get onto that ladder and start to go, no, I'm going to accept this. When I started to understand it, of course, I was going off my head a bit, getting all bridal. So what's happening? But, you know, I just started to fit into my wedding dress and you get what I'm saying, don't you? What time to be weird. So please say that you're my sister, verse chapter 3, verse 13. So it was, verse 14, when Abraham came into Egypt, that the Egyptians saw the woman, that she was very beautiful, just like Abraham said. The princes of Pharaoh also saw her and commended her to Pharaoh. And the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house. She became part of his harem. You know, and we know from Esther that when they would bring these foreign women in, they had to spend 6 months in a bath of myrrh. They had to be purified with all kinds of expensive perfumes and all that. We're just dragged in and outside. You know, we had to be prepared for a bit. So Sarah's safe for a few months, let's say, before Pharaoh gets his dirty hands on her. Verse 16, but this is how God's turned this around for good. This is how great he is. God, Abraham's called. He's not the finished article yet. There's work to be done with all of us, and there's work to be done with Abraham. And so God's going to turn this around for good. He's going to go, oh, I'm not going to write him off. I love him. I've already blessed him. I've already shared the gospel with him. He's already built an altar and called on my name. He's saved. That's what that means. He called on the name. Well, anyone who calls on the name will be saved. Abraham's saved. He's saved. He's not going to lose his salvation. And God's going to turn this around. Pharaoh, verse 16, treats Abraham well for his sake, for their sake. He had sheep, oxen, male donkeys, male and female servants, female donkeys and camels. He's laughing. But Yah plagued Pharaoh. So here's the start of that narrative. We know where this is going. In a few hundred years there's going to be another Pharaoh that's going to get plagued to death as well. Well, this is where it starts. Yah plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarah, Abraham's wife. And Pharaoh called Abraham and said, "What is this you've done to me? Why did you not tell me that she was your wife? Why did you say she is my sister? Well, because she is his sister and his wife. I might have taken her as my wife. Now, therefore, here is your wife. Take her and get out of here. So Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they sent him away with his wife and all that he had. See, he went down into Egypt and came out with great riches. God turned that disaster around. And that's what God does. And I was a disaster and he turned me around. I was a disaster and he turned me around. I would have jibbed him and gone, what? See you later, you. But that's not God. He's not like that. He chose us before we were born. Before the foundation of the world, he chose us. That's not a license to sin. The more you get into this, the more you want to just worship him and walk. Because we know now, he is God. He knows what he's on about. Amen. Chapter 13. Sorry for God. It goes so quick, don't it? We haven't even started. Chapter 13. Abraham went up from Egypt. He had his wife and all that he had, and Lot with him to the south. Abraham was very rich in livestock, in silver and in gold, just like we'll see in a few hundred years. And he went on his journey from the south as far as Bethel, the house of God, and to the place where his tent had been at the beginning. Look, he goes back to where this started again. Not to where it started, but back to where he first called on the name. It's back to there. That's what God does. If you blow it, he'll change it up, but he'll get you back to where he started. That's what he does. He's a God of restoration. Yeah, gets you back there. Well, that's what happens with Abraham now. He goes back to the place where he should have really stayed at the start. But whatever. So he goes to the place of the altar, which he made, verse 4 at first. And there again, Abraham calls on the name of Yah again. Oh, God, thank you that you brought me back to this place. Even the mistake of doing that with Sarah, you've brought us back and you've even blessed us more. So much so that Lot also, who went with Abraham, had flocks and herds and tents. Now the land was not able to support them, that they might dwell together for their possessions. Oh, it is their possessions were so great that they could not dwell together, and there was strife between the herdsmen of Abraham and livestock and the herdsmen of Lot's livestock. The Canaanites and the Perizzites now dwelt in the land. So Abraham said to Lot, please let there be no strife between you and me. This is what Yeshua said. We read it this week in the Sermon on the Mount, and Yeshua said, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. And that's what Abraham is doing here. He's making peace. Making shalom. Oh, look, come on, don't let there be any strife between us, but what has caused this strife was the possessions. And this is, you've got to be careful. God wants to bless. I don't believe that God wants to withhold blessings, but he won't bless if he's going to make, if your possessions are going to have you off. Beware deceitfulness of riches. You cannot serve God and mammon. This is clear, and that's what's getting between Abraham and Lot. They've got too much dough. Too much sheep. The Brewsters, they got too much money. There's a thing called too much money. That's why he said to the rich young ruler, lads, if you want to follow me, go and give all you've got to the poor, and come and be one of my followers, be my disciple. But you can't be coming around with me with all that dough. You've got too much dough. You can have too much, where it can have you. And that's what's happening here. This is, we're going to find, we'll do Lot next week, but we don't do Lot till next week. Lot is a righteous man. It says his righteous soul was vexed in Sodom and Gomorrah. But Yeshua, we heard this in the Sermon on the Mount this week, didn't we? Yeshua said there's two kinds of people, There's people that hear what I say and do it. They'll be called great in the kingdom. And there's people who hear what I say and don't do it. And they'll be called least in the kingdom, but they will be in the kingdom. You get saved, you're in the kingdom. Now, it's about where do you want to be in the kingdom? How do you want to be for all eternity? Do you want to be rewarded? Do you want to be, come here, you good and faithful servants? Well, we do want that. Well, this is Abraham and Lot. Abraham obeys God and does what God says. He's great in the kingdom. Lot, on the other hand, he just gets saved by the skin of his teeth. And I'm not going to judge Lot. It's not that, but I can just read between the lines. It's like, Lot, you made the wrong choice, mate. As we'll see. Abraham said to Lot, verse 8, don't let there be any strife between you and me and between my herdsmen and your herdsmen, for we are brethren. So don't let there be any strife between brethren. Again, great psalm, Psalm 133. Is not the whole land before you? Please separate from me. If you take the left, I'll go right, or if you go right, I'll go left. And Lot lifted his eyes and saw the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere, before Yah destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. That is, like the garden of Yah, like the land of Egypt as you go towards Zoar. So Lot chose for himself all the plain of Jordan, and Lot journeyed east, and they separated from each other. Abraham dwelt in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelt in the cities of the plain. That's what we seen last week, wasn't it? The cities were getting built. Nimrod turned up, he started to build the cities for themselves. And that's what we read, or didn't we? Yeah, we did read before. Or we read Hebrews 11, we read Hebrews 13, where it says that here we have no lasting city. But it says that Abraham, when he was called by faith, he went out and sojourned in a land that he had not inherited yet, because he wasn't interested in. He was looking to the city whose builder and maker is God. That's the city we're after. Yeah. It's called the New Jerusalem. It's called the New Jerusalem. That's what Yeshua says to the Philadelphians in Revelation chapter 3. I will write the name of the New Jerusalem on you. And that's what I feel like's going on with me. I desire that city. Sack this world. Sack the riches of this world. Sack all what this world can offer. And let's be like Abraham, sojourners. We don't belong in this world. We're in it, but we're not of it. We don't want to dwell with Lot in the cities and lift our eyes and go, oh, look at all that. Looks dead interesting over there. Like them flashing lights and, oh, come. And Lot was drawn after it. Well, no, Abraham was like, whatever. I am after that city. That's where we've got to be, you know. That's where our hearts are. The city whose builder and maker is God. You know, meditate on these things. I mean, it's real. It's real. Yeah. It's prepared for us. God, please give us the heart like that. Yeah. Not, we don't want to be like Lot. He was righteous, he was saved, but God, I want to be like Abraham. So anyway, verse 12, Abraham dwelt in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelt in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent even as far as Sodom. But the men of Sodom were exceedingly wicked and sinful against Yah. This is what's going on. And Yah said to Abraham, after Lot had separated from him, lift your eyes now. Look from the place where you are, northward, southward, eastward and westward. For all the land which you see, I'll give to you and your descendants forever. Amen. And I'll make your descendants as the dust of the earth, so that if a man could number the dust of the earth, then your descendants also could be numbered, which is impossible, isn't it? It's like, it's impossible. You're never going to be able to number the dust of the earth. He'll say later on about the stars of the heaven, innumerable like the stars of the heaven. So whichever way you look at it, there's two kinds of offspring here. The dust of the earth is the worldly, and the stars of the heaven is the spiritual. Because Abraham's going to have two kinds of offspring, natural and spiritual. Where is spiritual offspring? Some of us might have Jewish DNA, some of us might be Jews, and we are his natural offspring as well. But natural Jews have to get saved. Everyone's got to be saved. And so there's two kinds of offspring, but both of them are innumerable. So I want to read this, Revelation chapter 7, because Abraham will be buzzing to read this. Abraham will be made up to read this. Well, he's probably already read it, but he'll be made up to just hear it getting read out again, because this is his promise. This is what God promised him. He's promised him an innumerable multitude. So Abraham stands there going, I know he's true to his word, so I know I'm getting an innumerable multitude. Well, here it is in Revelation chapter 7, verse 9. I love this bit. Revelation chapter 7, verse 9. Blessed are those who hear the words of this. That's what it says in Revelation. Blessed are those who read the words of this book. So here it is. Revelation chapter 7, verse 9. Abraham made up After these things I looked, and behold, a great multitude, which no one could number. That's Abraham's promise. Abraham's like that, the jobs are good. You promised me an offspring that no one could number. And here we are in Revelation chapter 7 verse 9. A multitude which no one could number. Of all nations, that's what God said to me. I'm going to make you the father of many nations. Well, here they are. You can't count them. And they're from all nations, all tribes, peoples and tongues. And what are they doing? Standing before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes. This is real, this. We're so close to this time happening. Amen. Boi Kallah, come quickly. And white robes with palm branches in their hands, and crying out with a loud voice, saying, salvation belongs to our God who sits on the throne and to the Lamb. All the angels stood around the throne, and the elders and the 4 living creatures, and they fell on their faces before the throne and worshipped God, saying, Amen. Blessing, glory, wisdom, thanksgiving, honour, power and might be to our God forever and ever. Amen. Then one of the elders answered, saying to me, who are these, arrayed in white robes? And where did they come from? And John said to him, Sir, you know. And here's the answer. And he said to me, these innumerable people from every nation, exactly what Abraham got promised, these are the ones who come out of the great tribulation and have washed their robes and made them white. That's why they're so standing there in white robes, because they washed them in the blood of the Lamb. No, are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Remember that great cartoon? Well, it's great. Well, they washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Therefore, they are before the throne of God and serve him day and night in his temple. And he who sits on the throne will dwell among them. They shall neither hunger or thirst anymore. The sun shall not strike them anymore, nor any heat. For the Lamb who is in the midst of the throne will shepherd them and lead them to living fountains of waters, and God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. Hallelujah! That's a prophecy that is not going to fail, you know. There's no way that is going to fail. That it's written. It's as good as done. And Abraham is sitting there going, wow. I come out of here with my wife and Lot and a few other heads, and I got promised an innumerable multitude, and there they are in Romans chapter 7 with white robes and palm branches in their hands, and no one can count them.
Yeah, well, that's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah! George is on it. You're very funny, George. A lot. Lots will be one of them. So that's verse 16. That's the promise. Your descendants are going to be innumerable. Verse 17. This sounds like Yeshua. Well, it is. Arise, walk. All you got to do is pick up your mat in the middle of it. And you're back in John 5. John 5, the man who's been lame for 38 years, and Yeshua comes along and says, do you want to be made well? Well, if you want to be made well, rise, pick up your mat and walk. Well, this is what Abraham's getting told, but without the pick up your mat. He obviously isn't lying on a mat. Arise, walk in the land through its length, its width, I give it to you. Then Abraham moved his tent and went and dwelt by the terebinth trees of Mamre, which are in Hebron, and guess what? He built another altar to Yahweh. You know, that's the game we're in here. That's the occupation that we've got now. We're like in the same occupation as our father Abraham, who was the same as Noah. Noah built an ark. He's a builder. And then he come out the ark and he built an altar. Abraham, I think this is his third or fourth altar. He built altars, and that's what Yeshua said. I will build my assembly. And now you are co-labourers. So we're all in on the building project. We're meant to build each other up in the faith. That's what we're meant to do. We're meant to build his kingdom. That's what we're meant to be, builders. He's in charge. We're just labourers, and we want to be good and faithful to do what he said. Yeah, amen. Chapter 14. So, alright, first is, you've got to go right to the end of chapter 14 tonight. So I don't know how far we'll get with 20 minutes to go, because we're going to finish at 10 like Justin said, and then have a little question or comments time. So thanks for just letting us get on with it. Chapter 14. This is a deep chapter, so I'm not going to read all this because it's take us too long and too many names. What happens basically here, verse 14, chapter 14, verse 1. It came to pass in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar. Remember Shinar last week? That's where they were in the plains of Shinar and they built the Tower of Babel. It's the same gaff. Arioch, king of Elazar. Kedorlaomer, the king of Elam. That's Iran, modern day Iran is Elam. And Tidal, king of the nations. Four kings come and make war with 5 kings, without going through it all. 4 kings versus 5. So this is like a world war, basically. A world war. In this, there's not probably that many people on the planet at this stage. The flood only happened a few hundred years ago. So there won't be untold billions of people like there is now, whoever. But this was a world war of the modern day, or of the ancient day. 4 kings came to make war with 5. It says in verse 4, for 12 years they had been serving this Kedorlaomer, and in the 13th year they rebelled, so there's a kick-off. They have a big fight. And basically, it's these 4 kings prevail. Verse 8, the king of Sodom, the king of Gomorrah, the king of Admah, the king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, that is Zoar, went out and joined together in battle in the valley of Siddim, against Kedorlaomer, king of Elam, and etc. Now, verse 10, the valley of Siddim was full of asphalt pits, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled. Some fell there, and the remainder fled to the mountains. Then they, that's the 4-nation confederacy, that's the first set of kings, they took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah, and all their provisions, and went their way. They also took Lot, Abraham's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and departed. Then one who escaped came and told Abram the Hebrew. Here's the first time you see the name. Abram the Hebrew. Hebrew, what's it mean? One who crossed over. That's what Hebrew means, isn't it? A Hebrew is one who crossed over, because Abram crossed over the river Euphrates. To come out of Babylon, he had to cross over the river Euphrates. So he's one who crossed over. But we are Hebrews, because we have crossed over from darkness into light. We have passed from death to life. So we are Hebrews. We're not Jews, we're Hebrews. When we love the Jews, but we're Hebrews. So Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt by the terebinth trees of Mamre the Amorite, brother of Eshcol, brother of and they were allies with Abram. So they're his mates. Look, this is an interesting verse. Now, when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his 318 trained servants who were born in his house and went in pursuit as far as Dan. So I've been thinking about this week, and I've searched what people say. There's a lot of views about this. But what I believe is this. 318, you never hear me go into this much, but there's this gematria. Gematria is for every Hebrew letter, there's a number. And the number 318 is the number of the name of Abraham's servant, Eliezer. Eliezer is 318. A lot of the sages, the rabbi sages, say that this just means that Abraham, remember Eliezer? I'm not having it at all. Yeah. But what I do believe is this, is what does Eliezer mean? Well, Eli always means my God, doesn't it? That's what Yeshua cried out on the cross. Eli, Eli, Laba, Sabachthani, or whatever. My God, my God. And Eli means my God. And Ezer, as in Azir, means help. And that's what this is saying to me. 318 men is God is my helper. And who is the helper? The Holy Spirit is the helper. And so that's what you're seeing here now. It is 318 fellas, but that is just, 318 fellas going up against the armies of the world that have just wiped out 5 kings and their nations. You're not going to win with 318 fellas if it's just because you're dead hard. This is a bigger picture that God was behind this, and it was by his Spirit that he was going to do this. God can always destroy his enemies by many or by few. It's not about numbers, but And that's what this is about, just with 318 men signifying that God is the one. And we'll see this confirmed in a minute by Melchizedek. So 318 men go, and in verse 15, he divided his forces against them by night, and he and his servants attacked them and pursued them as far as Hobah, which is north of Damascus. I mean, this is some route, this is miles. They're right down here by the Dead Sea. And Abraham and his 318 men chased them past Damascus. I mean, that's a proper, them fellas got chased. So there's verse 16, so he brought back all the goods. He also brought back his brother Lot, and his goods, as well as the women and the people. And the king of Sodom went out to meet him at the valley of Shaveh, that is the king's valley, after his return from the defeat of Kedorlaomer, and the kings who were with him. Now here it is, we talk about this so much, and here it is, verse 18, then Melchizedek, King Zedek, righteousness, the king of righteousness, and the king of Salem, which Hebrews translates all that for us. He means he's the king of righteousness, and he's the king of peace. He brought out bread and wine, and he was the priest of God Most High. So if you want to understand priesthood, this is where you start. You don't start with Moses. You don't start with the Levitical priesthood. You start with Melchizedek, because this is where it ends up. As Laura read out tonight, Psalm 110, you are a priest forever, according to the order of Melchizedek. If you want to understand more, then you've got to read Hebrews, because this is what changed my life, and I mean changed my life. Before I understood what a Sabbath was, before I understood what a feast was, I didn't understand any of that. But I was reading Hebrews chapter 5 one day, and it says in Hebrews chapter 5, regarding this Melchizedek, there is so much to say, but you have become dull of hearing. And I was sitting there in ours, and I went, oh, Father, I pray now, in the name of Yeshua, by your Holy Spirit, please teach me what you've got to say. You've said in your word there's loads to say. I am all ears, teaching. And I am still learning, but God changed my life through this, because I started to get into this real faith. Because what it did, when we first started to fellowship, and the first thing I said to you was, I didn't understand much of it. All I know is Abraham's my dad, not Moses. I love Moses. Moses is our teacher. Moses Rabbeinu, they call him. Moses is our teacher. He taught us. But he's not our dad. Abraham's our dad. And that's what introduced me to him. I said, Father, teach me. There's so much to say about Melchizedek. I want to know. And he taught me so quickly so much stuff that then I started to get introduced to the Sabbaths and to the feasts, because I got introduced to Abraham. It's like, here's your alpha, follow him. He's the father of the faith. Follow him. And so I started to read the Old Testament, going, oh, it's Psalms. And then I got to Moses, like, oh, wow. And that's when I realised what you said. This is what Acts says. Acts 15 says that Moses is read in all the world in the synagogues on the Sabbath. And that was the advice that the elders in Jerusalem gave. Look, if you want to come and fellowship with us, don't be giving any of that sexual immorality. And don't be eating blood. Don't be sacrificing to idols. If you stop all that, we'll let you come in. If you're going to carry on with that, you're not even getting past the threshold, mate. You're not even allowed to come in. But if you will stop all that nonsense, then we will let you come into our synagogue, and you will hear for yourself Moses getting read, because that's what we do on the Sabbath. And this was the church teaching this. This is the church. This is the church leadership of the day. They were proper leaders in them days, and they taught how to study. It was, you come on the Sabbath and Moses is read, and that's what we do. That's why we do it. We've been doing it in our 4th year now of coming together on the Sabbath to hear the Moses getting read, and we're just learning more and growing more all the time. Hallelujah. And verse 19. So I'll just encourage you there to study more about Melchizedek. There's only 2 scriptures in the Tanakh. This one we just read, and what Laura read from Psalm 110. That's all you've got to go with. but so much more in the New Testament when you learn to read between the lines, because every time it's the most quoted verse in the Tanakh, out of the Tanakh, in the New Testament, is talking about Yah said to my Lord, sit at my right hand, sit at my right hand. And that is throughout the teachings of Paul and the epistles, teaching that he is seated now at the right hand of God, but not on his own. You are seated in him, it says. That is where we are. We are seated in the Messiah because it is finished. And that's what the Sabbath's about. Learn from the Sabbath. It's a day of rest, a day to rejoice and go, the work's done. I have got no work to do now. It's to be saved. I am not trying to be justified by works. I am saved without works. This is what Paul teaches, isn't it? For by grace you are saved through faith, not of works, that no one can boast. However, you are his workmanship created in the Messiah to do good works. So that's the difference. I haven't got time, but if you read Paul in Romans 4 and you read James in James 2, it seems like there's a bit of a conflict. Paul's saying, you are not justified by works. James is saying, you are. Is there a conflict going on? No, not at all. Paul's saying, you cannot be saved by works. James is saying, but when you are saved, I expect to see some works, because faith without works is dead. I mean, that's what he's saying. They're not arguing with each other, they complement each other. Once you are saved by grace through faith without works, you are then expected to do the works of building with him as a co-labourer, because he wants to reward you and go, you are my good and faithful servant, because you are a wise man who heard what I said and did it and built your house on the rock. Come here, give us a kiss. That's well, it says that in the Song of Songs, and a kiss me with the kisses on his mouth, so it's not weird about that. Verse 19, he blessed them and said, blessed be Abraham of God Most High, possessor of heaven and earth. And he blessed God Most High, who, and there it is, you see, who has delivered your enemies into your hand. So all the time, it wasn't Abraham and his 318 men, it was God Most High that done this. And that's what 318 means. God is my helper. The Holy Spirit is our helper. And he gave him a tithe of all. Now the king of Sodom said to Abram, give me the Persians, because we know what them Sodomites are like. We're going to find out next week what them Sodomites are about. But the king of Sodom's lost all his people. They've all been killed. And they've all been routed. And he's got no people left. He's like, I need some people to have me parties with. So Abram, can I have the people? You have all the clobber and all the gold and all the sheep. But give us the people. I need the people. Abraham's like, that lad, you've got no chance. Because my God's after people. He loves souls. Doesn't need the silver and gold. He's got the cattle 1,000 hills. You want the people. You can beat it, Sodom. Because you're not having these. But unfortunately, as we find out, Lot decides to go back. Yeah. He made his home there. He loves it there. And this was his perfect chance to get out of there. But he obviously goes back. Oh God. But Abraham said to the king of Sodom, I have raised my hand to Yahovah, the God Most High, possessor of heaven and earth, that I will take nothing from a thread to a sandal strap, and I will take anything that is yours, lest you should say, I've made Abraham rich, except only what the young men have eaten, and the portion of the men who went with me, and Eshcol and Mamre. Let them take their portion. I can't believe it, there's only a few minutes left and we've only just started. I mean, this is the important bit now. Someone needs to have a word with me and tell me to stop going on.
You got 7 minutes, Dave.
I know. Well, look, how are we going to do this? We've got to do this. Chapter 15, I mean, there's so much to do here. Hallelujah, Father. So please, you've got to read this yourself. You know how it works. I'm just trying to get the Shabbat started, get us in this, take over when you get home, and read it all night and get up tomorrow and get into it. It's the Shabbat. And this is his word. Amen. Verse chapter 15. After these things, the word of Yah came to Abraham in vision, saying, Don't be afraid, Abraham. I am your shield and your exceedingly great reward. In other words, Abraham, well done, mate. Well done. You are going to be blessed. You're going to be rewarded greatly. And don't worry about a thing, because I'm your shield. I'm going to take care of you. Think more of a force shield rather than some little weapon, little down shield. Think of a Star Trek force shield. That's what God's saying, lads. I'm your shield. Not just some little thing. And that's the word Magen, isn't it? David, the shield of David, the Magen David. So, but Abraham said, Adonai, Yahovah, what will you give me, seeing I go childless, and the heir of my house is that fellow's name? Eliezer, my God is helper of Damascus. Then Abraham said, look, you've given me no offspring. Indeed, one born in my house is my heir. And behold, the word of Yahovah came to him, saying, this one shall not be your heir, but one will come from your own body. He will be your heir. Then he brought him outside and said, look now towards heaven and count the stars if you are able to number them. And he said to him, so shall your descendants be. And this has got to be now one of the most important scriptures in the Bible. And he believed in Yahovah. And Yah accounted it to him for righteousness. And that's the gospel. I mean, that is the gospel. That's how Paul in Romans 4, he uses that scripture. James uses it in James 2. They both use it to say the same thing. But Paul's saying that that's how we're saved. That's how we're saved. I believe salvation is so simple, you know. I just believe it's that simple. God's not willing for any to perish, and he has made the way. Whoever believes in their heart and confesses with their mouth that Yeshua is Lord will be saved. That's it. No works. That's it. Faith. And that's what it says here. Abraham believed God. And that's, we all know this word. That's the word Amen. That's what the word is. When it says he believed God, it's Amen. It's where the word Emunah comes from. Emunah is faithfulness, isn't it? Faith. Being solid and being totally convinced that what he said, he is able to do. And it says later on in Romans that he considered his own body when it got to that stage. He looked at his wife, who was 90 at that time, later on, and he was like, but you said it, so amen, I'm going to just keep on believing it. And that's what it means. It says he believed God, and God seen his faith and went, right, that's enough for me. Put his name on the list. Put him on the guest list. Get him on the guest. Get on the Gezi. How to get on the Gezi? Believe God. You can, but you can't get on the Gezi like one. It's like on the Gezi, put silver plus 4. It doesn't work on this Gezi. It's you, silver alone, and Manish alone, and it could go round. You've got to get on the Gezi yourself. And the way to get on the Gezi is like the thief on the cross next to Yeshua. 1 minute he's cursing him, the next minute he gets convicted and he goes, well, he's done nothing wrong. And says to his mate, lad, haven't you got any fear of God? We deserve this. He's innocent. Any chance, when you come into your kingdom, remember me. And Yeshua said, son, you're on the Gezi. You're on the guest list. You've got to ask yourself. You can't get anyone else on the guest list. You've got to ask. You've got to ask. But if you ask, you're on. You're in. All you've got to do is ask. All you've got to do. And that's the gospel. He believed in Yah, and Yah accounted it to him for righteousness. Beautiful. Amen. Then he said to him, verse 7, I am Yahovah, who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldeans to give you this land to inherit it. And he said, Adonai Yahovah. Here's where the doubt sets in now. No doubt about the ability of God to give him an offspring, a seed, but he starts to doubt about the land now. How will I know that I will inherit it? So Yah said to him, bring me a 3-year-old heifer, a 3-year-old female goat, and a 3-year-old ram, a turtle dove and a young pigeon. And he brought all these to him, and he cut them in two down the middle, and placed each opposite the other. But he didn't cut the birds in two, just like we see later on in the sacrificial system. When the vultures came down on the carcasses, Abraham drove them away. That is the word blow. And it's only used twice more description, and both times it's used of the Holy Spirit who will blow. Yeah, same word, Abraham blew. And it's like that Holy Spirit that was helping him in the battle against the kings. It's the same Holy Spirit coming. Abraham stands up and chases the birds away. And it's the same, and you've got to just remember the same principle when Yeshua taught about the parable of the sower. He said, when the sower goes out to sow, some falls by the wayside, and then birds of the air come and eat it up. And then he tells us later on that those birds of the air, that is the wicked one. That's the demon spirits. They come, and when that word's been sown, they come to steal it. Because they know that word has got the life of God in it. And if that seed goes into the ground, you will get a harvest. Amen. And that's why Abraham's doing what he's doing.
Amen. Amen.
Can I just
2 minutes.
well, there's so much more to say, so I'll just finish off this chapter. Verse 12. Now when the sun was going down, a deep sleep, I'm going to finish off right now, a deep sleep fell upon Abraham. Same deep sleep that fell upon Adam when Yah took the woman out of him. It's that deep sleep, very redemptive, this deep sleep. Deep sleep fell upon Abraham, and behold, horror and great darkness fell upon him. Then he said to Abraham, know certainly that your descendants will be strangers in a land that's not theirs, and will serve them, and they will afflict them 400 years. Also, the nation whom they serve, I will judge afterwards. They shall come out with great possessions. Now as for you, you shall go to your fathers in peace. You shall be buried at a good old age, but in the fourth generation they shall return here, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet complete. And it came to pass when the sun went down and it was dark, that behold, there appeared a smoking oven and a burning torch that passed between those pieces. On the same day, Yah made a covenant with Abraham, saying, etc. And the only reason I just want to finish off with that is in Exodus chapter 12 verse 40. Don't go there, but just make a note. When you read Exodus chapter 12 verse 40, Moshe is saying, when Israel had just come out of Egypt at Passover, and Moshe says, this is 430 years to the day that God made this covenant with Abraham. So we get insight here. This is a Passover event.
And the Egyptians gave him loads of stuff as well, didn't they?
It's the same thing going on. Yeah. So sorry for going on too long. You've got chapter 16 and 17 to read, which are, please read it yourself. We'll refresh next week about it because it's so important. Sorry for not getting to finish.
Well, yeah, thank you very much, Steve. Before I open up for questions,